BBC Sounds. Music, radio, podcasts.
Hello, I'm Ray Bradshaw and this is a Scottish Football Podcast. All the news, views and analysis you need on Friday the 15th of August, after a night of utter drama in the Conference League qualifiers.
Josh Mulligan deflected, save, Chris Cannon, surely! There it is, Chris Cannon! Incredible scenes inside Easter Road as Hibernian hit the front once more in the tie.
Hibs go through, but being Hibs, they don't do it the easy way. Meanwhile at Tannadice, penalty heartbreak for United.
Bendigo's ball scores here. Rapid Vienna are going through to the playoff round. Here he goes, strikes it, and he has scored! And Dundee United's hearts are broken at Tannadice.
Dundee United so close, but losing out to Rapid Vienna. And we've got the League Cup action to look forward to this weekend.
Hearts have won it, surely. It's Stuart Findlay again with a low, stooping header at the near post to divert in the corner kick from Kizarides.
Hearts travel to Paisley in what looks like the tie of the round.
The Scottish Football Podcast.
Yes, hello and welcome to this Friday edition of the Scottish Football Podcast. I mean, what a night in Europe for both teams. We'll chat about that in a second, but let's talk to our guests first. First up, we've got Joelle Murray, the former Hibs and Scotland defender. And Joelle, a new position title for you as of yesterday.
Yeah, and indeed, quite a quick promotion. But yeah, a new title, just on the back of, obviously, European criteria. So yeah, the club acted fast to really get on top of that.
So you've been appointed head coach. Grant Stott's been moved to team manager. I don't know if that was his original title. It's a Stephen Naismith situation, I think. It's happened in Scottish football before. The main question, Joelle, is did you get a raise? Did you get any new money?
Unfortunately, not. But certainly I'll be chapping doors, Ray. I'll be chapping doors.
Oh, that is the most Scottish football thing ever. We're also joined by Cammy Kerr, Livingston defender. Cammy, how are you? You were saying earlier you've picked up an injury. You back on the grass? You're going to be back playing soon?
Yeah, so I've obviously had a tough time of it, Ray, with my injury, and I had a wee setback at the start of pre-season, but I can feel like I'm getting kind of to the end of that dark tunnel now. So yeah, bit of light there. So should be out running next week.
Good. You said you'd done your abductor. It's one of those things that footballers say, and I pretend I know what that is. That's very nice.
Yeah.
But how's Livingston been since you joined? Are you enjoying it?
Been really good. Really enjoyed it. A club that are, obviously looking to stay in the league and do things properly. Really good kind of professional setup and a really good bunch of boys. I know it's easy saying that, but no, I've definitely been impressed by the setup.
That's good. Well, let's start off with last night's European action. Only one place to go. Hibs beat Partizan Belgrade in extra time after a game that had just about everything. Hibs will make it through to the playoff rounds. Joelle, you were there last night, I presume?
I was there last night, Ray. Yes, absolutely.
Talk us through it. How was it?
It was a roller coaster of emotions. I was there as a supporter last night, so it was a roller coaster of emotions. I think in typical Hibs fashion, we didn't do it the easy way. Thought we had the game wrapped up in one, and of course with the last kick of the ball. So yeah, it was electric. It was devastating. It was everything in between.
Talk us through when that Kieran Bowie goal went in.
It was unbelievable. I was sitting right behind it, and I remember thinking it was one of those ones. We've probably all been there watching our team, and you see a build up and think that should have been the pass or that should have been the pass. But when Kieran Bowie went to hit that shot, it was one of those ones where you're like, what are you doing? I thought he'd just hit it out of frustration because he was playing quite frustrated all night. So it was one of those ones where you're thinking, oh, come on, like, what are you shooting from there for? And honestly, it was just like time stood still, sitting right behind it, could see it, thought it, that's going top corner, that is top corner, and then the whole stadium erupted. It was probably the best goal I've ever seen live.
Oh, that's big, because I've watched it about 8 or 9 times. It's such a clean strike. The way it hits the inside of the post. My favourite bit is Martin Boyle's reaction. I don't know if you've seen that yet.
Oh, the hands on the head.
Hands on the head, just like he can't believe it's happened. It's great. Cammy, in terms of Hibs last night, Joelle mentioned the last minute goal. When I was, I'm doing the Edinburgh Festival now, so I did my show, so I came back and watched the highlights. When you look at the clock, that goal went in on the 94th minute and 59 seconds of 5 minutes of injury time. Like, it could not be any later. See, as a player, when that happens, what do you do? Does your heart sink? Is it hard to get back into it?
No, yeah, it's so difficult. It's your mindset. I think every kind of thing that happens in the game in the build up to that last minute, and maybe if it's you've kicked the ball up the pitch as a defender, you look to the clock, right? Okay, that's another minute gone, and for that to go in, their thoughts straight away, extra time, can't believe it. The legs, the mind, how tired am I? Can I keep going? And that would, I know for a fact, and a big part of that last night would have been the goalkeeper, because he would have thought, the boys have got me out of jail here. I've obviously had a terrible night in goal, which, to be fair, it can happen. I feel for him. Everyone felt for him, I think.
Right, Cammy, do you actually, and if you're in a game, you're busting your gut, and your goalie makes not just one howler, but two howlers like Jordan Smith did last night, by all accounts, an incredible season he had last year after coming in. Do you feel for him, or are you just raging on the pitch?
No, like, being brutally honest, like, obviously everyone's been there, and there'll be plenty of people probably say, listen to this and be thinking, well, you've had plenty of bad games, and I definitely have. But I don't. You're so angry, and you think that the keeper should definitely, in my opinion, save both. And to be playing that top level, he has to be doing better. But yeah, it's more anger. It's absolute anger in that moment.
I felt bad for him, because especially the second one, Joelle. Like, what was the atmosphere in the stadium like? Because Hibs played some wonderful stuff, but they were shaky at the back. 3 goals conceded, and then if you look at both legs, Partizan had a man sent off in each one. What was the atmosphere in the stadium like? Was it positive after those Jordan Smith errors?
No, it was the complete opposite. It was quite, I wouldn't go as far as saying toxic, but I think typically when there's an error on the pitch, you hear the sighs, you hear the negative moans and groans, and that was what it was like at Easter Road last night. And you could see the boys, Cammy touched upon, like, rallying around your teammates. You could see Rocky going up to Jordan, trying to encourage him. But yeah, it's difficult when you've got 19,000 fans kind of groaning, moaning, and kind of watching it's the nature of the game, but watching your every move. And I think what Jordan done fantastically last night was kind of put that first half aside, because arguably second half and then first half, second half, extra time, he kept us in the game with 3, from what I can remember, remarkable saves. So I think that shows the character of the guy, the fact that he could park that first half. And don't get me wrong, I agree with Cammy. I think 2 goals he should have saved. He'll know that, but it's the nature of the position. You can make a mistake anywhere else on the pitch, and 9 times out of 10 it might not lead to a goal, but it's the nature of the position. But yeah, it was, as I say, I wouldn't go as far as saying toxic, but certainly a lot of pressure, and all eyes were on Jordan Smith after those 2 moments.
Yeah, as a fan, I would have maybe clapped and said after the first one, but after the second one, you're like, mate, what are you doing, man? So, Cammy, Hibs through to the next round. They play Legia Warsaw. Do you think they'll fancy it?
Yeah, they will. Even looking at, I know we'll touch on it in a minute, the Dundee United game, I honestly think that, in recent years, Scottish football's had a bad rap, and at times rightly so in Europe, with some of the results that some of the clubs have had, and shock exits and stuff. But I think Scottish football is starting to put a real marker down and kind of show, even the big European teams, that they're there to compete. They're not there just to make the numbers up, and they'll definitely fancy themselves in the next round.
Yeah, it's exciting times. And finally, about Hibs, Joelle, I mentioned for Kieran Bowie, Scotland's next number 9, do you think?
1,000,000%. I think if you're watching that game last night and you're not a Hibs fan, you're absolutely delighted, because you've got a number 9 and Kieran Bowie for your national team for years to come. I don't think I've ever seen an individual performance as good as Kieran's in and out of possession as the one that he showed on the pitch last night. Absolutely incredible.
Yeah, let's head to Tannadice. Dundee United, meanwhile, lost out last night on penalties to Rapid Vienna after a 2 each draw at Tannadice. It's just heartbreaking for United, Cammy. I mean, as a Dundee fan, I can see you smiling, but just throw you under the bus. What did you make of it for United? Because it was a harder task. Rapid Vienna got to the last 8 of this competition last year, but to be 2-0 up in a tie and lose, Cammy, that is gutting for them, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. But again, I think it goes to show how far United have came. I know they were in Europe a few seasons, but now I think it looks more like everything's kind of there for them to go and succeed. I know they've obviously went out now, but there's a real kind of foundation at United now. And yeah, they were unlucky last night. I was obviously listening to it on the radio. They seemed to do really well in the game. I know they would have had spells in the game where they had to defend, they had to ride out certain chances and ride their luck at times. But that's going to happen in these ties. I think, I could be wrong, correct me if I am, but I'm sure they were last year's quarterfinalists or something in the conference, were they? Yeah. So that shows you again that I spoke about in the last bit there, how underestimated Scottish teams are. And I know for a fact Jim Goodwin would, definitely fancied their chances taking them back to Tannadice with that 2-2. And again, obviously, extremely unlucky. You know what? It's always kind of that luck when you go to penalties. But that'll be a real I think that'll really kind of kickstart United's season as much as they've went out.
Do you take a penalty in a shootout, Cammy?
I'm not a big fan of taking them, but I've thought the older I've got, I need to step up if you're an experienced player. I actually scored one against your team in the cup.
Oh,
so I didn't want to mention
that Queen's Park one that went on.
Yeah, the one. It was a terrible game.
Yeah,
but
it was awful. That game, awful.
Yeah, so that's really the only. I've took one in my testimonial, but I think Big Rab actually told me what way he was going, and I went the other way. But yeah, I've not really been a massive penalty taker.
Oh, that's good. The only time you've taken one is against Thistle, which sums up Partick Thistle perfectly. Joelle, Billy Dodds called this last night, which I thought was slightly harsh. Another glorious Scottish failure, because United were, probably fair to say, the better side over the 2 legs. They must be gutted today.
Yeah, they will be, especially with the way the game played out. Was keeping an eye on it at Easter Road, and I think they will be gutted. I think it's one of those ones going into the game, going into both legs actually. You know it's going to be a tough ask given Rapid Vienna's kind of history, the quality within their side, and you know you're in a game. But then when you go 2-0 up at home, you're playing well, you get that added belief and hope. So I think the way the game played out, in particular the way the 2 legs played out, in particular last night's game, I think it just makes it that more devastating from a Dundee United perspective, because as I said, they probably thought, albeit it was only 2-0 at half time, they still had the 45, but I think they thought they probably had one foot in the next round. So yeah, I think the way it played out probably made it harder to take. And like you said, probably a bit of a harsh comment from Billy Dodds there.
Yeah, we had Robbie Nielsen on the podcast yesterday, Cammy, and he was chatting about how one of the best things Jim Goodwin has done is replacing Sam Dolby, who's got so many goals. He was league top scorer for last year's, and so someone put Dizamide in a USB charger and he just went flying for the rest of the season. They've brought in Zach Sapsford. He's been getting a lot of the credit, but Max Waters got a double last night. That's now 4 goals in 5 games for United. Do you think he's going to be a big player for them this season?
I think he is, and I think I look towards United's recruitment this season, and obviously I'm not involved at Dundee United, so I don't know exactly their recruitment process, but it seems like they've done a thorough look around the markets to try and get their people in. They've done it early. They've added a lot, which is going to take time to gel up. But it looks like week by week, it looks like Jim Goodwin's starting to get what he wants. He wasn't too happy at the Eunice Strazen game, the way they're keeping the ball. But yeah, Max Waters is going to be one of those signings. I think he's again, got that physical presence, and with Sapsford alongside him, I think certainly will definitely cause problems.
Yeah, it's interesting for United because they've got so many injuries just now, so it's really hard to give a fair assessment of them. Jim Goodwin said before the game yesterday, it's easier to name the players that are available than not available. So Dundee United out of the competition, Hibs through to the next round to play Legia Warsaw. The other Scottish team at this stage, Aberdeen now know they'll play FCSB of Romania in the Europa League playoff. Joelle, how confident are you feeling about Aberdeen in this tie? It's not exactly been the ideal start for them this season.
No, it's not. They've faced a lot of criticism already this season, and it won't be hard. It won't be easy. Sorry, I think it'll be very difficult. They've obviously not got any momentum in their play at the moment, off the back of some frustrating results. So they'll be looking at the European tie to try and lift the mood around Pittodrie and really try and kickstart their season. Obviously Hibs, Dundee United so far, they can look at potentially fatigue for drop points in the league, but Aberdeen don't have that excuse at the moment. So as I say, they'll be looking at this European tie to try and turn things around as early as in the season, and try and lift the mood and get back to the standards that they know they can get to, the standards and the performance levels that they showed towards the end of last season.
Yes, it's exciting that actually, if you think about it, to still be in August and have 4 Scottish teams in Europe. Let's see how long that lasts. Finally, let's get stuck into the League Cup last 16. Kicks off tonight. Cammy, Celtic host Falkirk. Surely a home win in this one, do you think?
Yeah, I think Celtic will win that one comfortably, Ray. I think I don't know if Falkirk will try and play their usual game. I don't know what they're going to do. I'd imagine that they will change it up slightly, but I can only see one winner in Celtic tonight.
Were you at the game last week when Livingston beat Falkirk?
Yeah, I was. I thought we played really well in the game. I thought we were more dominant, more aggressive. I was slightly surprised that Falkirk. I thought they would have. I know they will be better, but they weren't good last week. I think probably McGlynn would say that. We were kind of on the front foot on every second ball. They looked to be a bit on the back foot. But again, they'll be looking for a reaction tonight. Probably not the best of games to go into, but at the same time, it can go either way because it's one of them. Maybe no pressure on us tonight, so we'll wait and see. But I think more than likely a Celtic victory.
Yeah, they gave him a little fright at this stage last season. Remember Ross McIver scoring from outside the box. Other ties, maybe all Premiership affair, which you don't really want at this level. You want to see a potential banana skin. St Mirren Hearts, Joelle. Other side of the City for you. I presume you don't want to say anything nice about them, but can Hearts prove their genuine challengers with another win this weekend?
Yeah, I think so. I think they've been started the season incredibly well. They were looking at Dundee United's recruitment, but equally so, I think Hearts' recruitment has been fantastic over the summer. It's always difficult when you get a raft of signings coming in, especially signings that you're not really familiar with. So I think they've done really, really well there. Players coming in and hitting the ground running, and I think on Saturday that'll be a Hearts win, which I hate to say.
Love that honesty. The one that intrigues me, the off-the-ball derby, if you will, St Johnstone hosts Motherwell. St Johnstone flying high in the Championship after scudding mighty Partick Thistle 5-1 a couple of weeks ago. Motherwell in the post-Lennon-Miller era. Just a word on Lennon-Miller, Cammy, 4.75 million, off to Udinese. Great result for Motherwell, you'd imagine?
Yeah, they'll be delighted with that, and I think obviously it's a great move for Lennon. I think I saw an interview with his dad during the week, and he kind of spoke about how, you know, the family not make the decision, but they all speak about these things, and it's a really big thing for Lennon. Ultimately, it's down to him. There was probably interest from bigger clubs, but whether there was a bid or not, I don't know, but it was all about him taking the next step in his career to play, and they've obviously thought that through. It's about him playing every week, feeling like he's a top player. Then, if he's doing the right things there, then you'll probably get another move. But will Motherwell, you know, suffer off that. I think it'll be a really tough game for them at the weekend against St Johnstone. I've been really impressed with them. They've got a lot of experienced players in there that can play Premiership still, and I think they're building to. I think they'll be the favourites this season in the Championship. So it'll be an interesting game. I don't know. I think St Johnstone might get something. I really do. Do you miss? Could be wrong. But...
Do you miss the Championship, Cammy?
In all honesty, no. No. It's a great league in terms of the competitiveness, but every week I've said this to you before. I think when we've spoke just about football in general, every week it's a complete battle, and the top team can get beat from the bottom team, and literally you just don't. Sometimes you can play brilliant and you end up on the end of the defeat, and you're going back up the road thinking, how have we got beat in that game? But that again, for the neutrals, that's the beauty of it, really, isn't it? But as a player, it's hard to get your head around sometimes. But I do love it at the same time.
Yeah, he hates it. You can tell from his voice. The other games, Morton, Aberdeen could be a banana skin. Thistle Ayr, I'm headed to that tomorrow. 2 underperforming sides. Rangers Alloa, Russell Martin's got to get back on track. Kelly, Dundee United is going to be an interesting one. Dundee United, probably a bit of extra fatigue in the legs after going extra time. But having both of you on, the final tie we need to chat about is Cammy's Livingston up against Joelle's beloved Hibs. What is your prediction? We'll start with you, Joelle. Livingston against Hibs. Who's your money on?
I'm obviously going to say Hibs. However, I think Livingston's recruitment's been fantastic. I think the way they play under Davy Martindale is really exciting. So yeah, I think I'll go a Hibs win. However, I think it'll be a very competitive game.
Cammy, you taking that from her, all that trash talk?
No, I can't take that, can I? You know what I mean? I think it's going to be a 2-1 victory for Livy. I think obviously an extremely tough tie in which Hibs are probably slight favourites, but they are just off the back at the 120 minutes last night. Again, that'll potentially play a part, even though it's not too much of a travel at the weekend. I'm sure it'll be an exciting game, and I'm really looking forward to it. But I do hope that obviously my team can get a victory at the weekend.
It would have been class if one of you'd said, "I hope my team loses." It would have been good. Let us go viral.
You would love that.
That's what podcasts are for. That's all we got time for. Many thanks to Joelle Murray and Cammy Kerr, and thank you for listening. Remember, we're here with new episodes of the Scottish Football Podcast bright and early every day. So to make sure you don't miss out, subscribe on BBC Sounds and have push notifications turned on in your phone. After an exciting night in Scottish football, it's back to the League Cup. And just remember, we're going to get them back on Monday and have a fight to the death between Cammy and Joelle if the game goes to penalties. That's the plan. Thank you for listening. Enjoy your weekend of Scottish football.
It's petty, it's ill-informed.
Are President Trump's cuts having an adverse effect on research?
It's pandemonium.
What number's that in the periodic?
PD, number 47. I don't know.
I've done the shooting clays before. The longer you do it, the sorer obviously it gets.
When Craig said there he'd been shooting the clays, I imagined him out the back line. Somebody's washing, you know.
William Shatner, his secretary, contacted me to say, when Bill has a question now and again, can he contact you? And then one time he called me up and he wanted to know, David, what is a photon? I'm thinking, this is incredible. Captain Kirk wants to know what a photon is, you know?
I once met a guy who referred to a globe as a ball map. A ball map.
Look at the ball map.
What we normally do is spin the ball map and we see where we go on holiday.
The Off the Ball podcast, available every Monday on BBC Sounds.